Hey guys, my name is Eric, and today I'm going to be talking about the STEINER MPS micro pistol red dot sight from STEINER. Go ahead and roll the intro. Hey guys, thanks for checking out another Hatchet Cast episode, and today we're going to be talking about the STEINER micro pistol sight, otherwise known as the MPS. Before we jump into this review, a great way to support us is to hit the like and the subscribe button. Also comment your experience with the STEINER MPS below if you have experience with one, or any enclosed emitter pistol red dot sight. I'd love to hear your experiences and the good and the bad things. Now, if you're looking to support the channel further, so that way we continue to push out free content for you guys, go check out our 2025 training calendar. You can come sign up and take a class with us. It's always a good time. And also go check out the build list on the website, where we have actually put every single build that I've run in videos, and you can find all the exact parts on that list. It's a great way to support the channel and also let the companies know that support the channel know that you guys are actually utilizing Barrel and Hatchet to find them. Great way to support us, and also helps you make your shopping a little bit easier. Now, disclaimer on this. There are two different disclaimers I have to do. STEINER did send me this micro pistol sight, and they sent me the red dot for review. With that being said, I'm gonna be an open book about the optic. There are some things that, in my opinion, I wish maybe a little bit different. Most everything is actually a really positive feedback. The other one is calculated kinetics, and I'll talk about how I got a plate from calculated kinetics for this red dot. So going right off the beginning, I'm gonna go ahead and jump right into the stats of the micro pistol sight. So obviously the big thing that everybody's wondering is, how much does this thing cost? Well, on STEINER's website, MSRP is $632.99. That's before tax and shipping. You can most likely find this at gun shops or even in a private sale for a lot less. You can probably get it for like $400 is sometimes I've seen them go for like $399, $380. But you can always find deals on these things, and it's honestly a really good bang for the buck. It is an enclosed emitter, which means that it does not have an open emitter, so the emitter is enclosed between two panes of glass. You can get it in black. It also comes in FDE. As far as the weight, it's 2.05 ounces. It has 8 brightness settings, as well as a 13,000 hour battery life. It does run on an acro footprint. So if you are looking to mount this, you need to make sure you have an RMR to acro plate. The one thing I do wish is that it came with an acro plate, but that's neither here nor there. Not every optic company will do that. It's just something that I wish was included, obviously for convenience sake. If you're looking for an acro plate though, STEINER actually recommends these manufacturers for their acro plates: American Defense Manufacturing, Apex Tactical, Arisaka, Dawson Precision, Ford Controls Designs, Yagerworks, Overwatch Precision, Primary Machines RMR to acro, Reptilia, Strike Industries RMR to acro, and Unity Tactical. The one that I'm going to also suggest is the calculated kinetics plate. So the question is all right, how did I get a calculated kinetics plate? Well, first off, Calculated Kinetics is a smaller company. I actually had an issue where I was running a different well-known manufacturer's plate, RMR to acro plate, for my other MMP. After about 50 rounds, I had a catastrophic malfunction. The dot came flying off the gun, hit me on the top of the head, and I was like, what the heck was that? And it turned out it was my dot, and my screws had sheared off. Now, it could have been operator error. In fact, I most likely will attribute it to maybe operator error. However, what wasn't helping the screws, which are brand new screws, they weren't used, they were clean, they had Loctite on them, obviously, because the screws were still stuck in the slide. The plate was very, very thick and very, very heavy. So I actually had this optic sitting really, really high on the slide, and it was rubbing the top of my Safariland holster that I actually had to Dremel out a little bit of material to get the optic to fit in the holster. So I expressed my frustration on social media. I was like, hey, does anybody know how to get these screws out? Does anybody have anyone they know that has services where they can take screws out? One of my buddies who I shoot with, he's a millwright. He's like, hey, I can get the screws out for you. So I was like, perfect. And when I made that post asking about getting screws out of a slide, Calculated Kinetics hit me up and says, hey, we'd like to send you a acro plate that we actually have specifically for the STEINER MPS. And I was like, yeah, sure, that sounds great. And so when I got this plate, I almost sent them an email and I was like, hey guys, I think your plate might be a little bit out of spec because it's not fitting. And then as I was like getting ready to send this email, I was like, let me try it one more time. And I pushed the plate onto the optic and it clicked into place. It was so custom, well fit to the dot that it actually clicked into place and the plate was holding itself onto the dot and it was super, super thin.
So putting the MPS on my competitor slide for tomorrow to be able to take to the range, start filming this MPS again. This is sent to me from Calculated Kinetics. I got it today. And so I almost sent them a video saying that this center section is too small. Because I was like, hey, it's this right here on the bottom of the MPS. Maybe it's a different size, I'm not sure, but maybe this is size for acro and this is a little bit bigger, maybe a 1/10 of an inch. And I was about to send the video and I tried it one more time and it literally fit so well. It is so tight. I'm gonna show you guys if I can get it while I am holding the phone. It literally is such a clean fit, it snapped in. Blew me away. I don't even know what to say. And look how thin this is. Look how thin it is. So thin. Look at that. Look at that. Just. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I can't wait to shoot it.
So they also have on the front of their Calculated Kinetics plate, they have this little shoe that comes out the front to be able to keep some of that carbon off of the front of your glass. If you guys know, on the M&P, there's actually a brass indicator hole on the slide and the barrel. The problem with that is you end up getting a lot of carbon that comes out of that gas, almost like a chimney chute or like a train's exhaust stack. Well, that carbon goes on the front of your glass and makes it all dirty. So they actually have a little horseshoe that comes out that kind of prevents some of that carbon from getting on the glass, which is super nice. It's honestly very smart. So there's that disclaimer there and how I got the Calculated Kinetics plate. Very, very good price points on these. Very small company. So if you ever get a chance, go check out Calculated Kinetics. They do have plate options for other footprints, but really cool company, great guys, and an incredible plate for the acro. Now, as far as the acro is concerned, the dot size, it is a 3.3 MOA dot. I personally enjoy a 5 MOA dot, maybe a little bit lower, like a 3.3 is perfect for me. I want to have that bigger dot. I have no issue shooting out to 100 if I have to. It's not very often that I do, but you can do it. And also, it makes it for easier, faster pickup of that sight picture. As far as the 13,000 hours, if the battery is low, then the red dot will start flashing red. After about 4 months, I did have to change the battery out. The red dot started blinking, so maybe it was me leaving the dot on inside the holster, but if you want to make sure that battery stays good, just turn it off whenever you're done shooting for the day. However, I did get a new battery. It does run a CR1632, which is a smaller battery. You can get it at Walmart, but it's not like your traditional 2032. So that's one thing I wish that was a little bit different. Maybe they had a good reason for it, but I wish that the battery was the standard 2032. It's just easier to find. Now I have to have another type of button battery that I have to have on hand, which is not a big deal. It's just something I prefer is to have a more common battery type. But that's kind of, tit for tat, kind of really digging in between the lines there. As far as the battery changing system though, it does have an outside battery cap, so that way you can just unscrew it and not have to take the entire optic off to be able to put a new battery in. Similar to like an RMR, you have to take the entire dot off to be able to replace your battery, which is super frustrating. So you can actually access it without taking the dot off. It does come with a tool, but I just use a standard Leatherman and a flathead to be able to get that battery cap off. Now, before we continue on, I want to talk about a quick sponsor of the channel that is also a family-owned small business, and that is Wetworks. Now, if you're looking for any type of high-quality gear, it's a small-owned business out of Texas. You guys have heard me talk about them before, but they make plate carriers, they make chest rigs, they make you know, concealment options, helmet scrim, all different types of things, and they have really high quality control. And so if you guys are looking for gear, which is super important, you are worth getting high quality gear for a good price. Go check out Wetworks. They're an amazing company, and they have a lot of different options as far as colors and patterns, and they're not gonna upcharge you based off of pattern. You get a full range of selection for all different types of camouflage patterns that you can get your gear in. So go check out Wetworks. Special thanks to Wetworks for sponsoring this video. So a lot of the things that I really liked about the Steiner is a couple of years ago, we put out a video about different enclosed emitters and some of the different ones that we were running at the time. And what was fascinating is the only one that stood the test of time was the Steiner MPS. The common issues that we were having was either glass blowing out from pressure, but here in Florida, it's very humid. We were getting a lot of moisture in the emitter. So like the inside of the glass would fog up. There's nothing you can really do about that. Steiner MPS is the only one that actually stood up to that type of testing. Now those dots, it was after probably about 6 to 7 months. However, the Steiner MPS that we were having, they never had an issue. What's really nice about the MPS is it does also have like this hooded cover to protect the glass. So that way the glass is not exposed and not gonna be able to smack against something. So you rack this to be able to rack the slide back. I don't recommend it, just saying that you can do it if you want to. There is this little hood thing that kind of over covers it. The window's actually a pretty decent size. Inside the window, very, very clean. One of the things that I do like also is it has really good tactile clicks for when you're making adjustments for your windage and your elevation. The other thing that I really enjoy about this is the buttons feel really nice. Sometimes you'll get some of these red dots and it just feels really chintzy. You can definitely feel the quality in the Steiner. With the other ones that I was running, man, we beat that thing to all get out. Like it was run hard, it was run on a rifle, it was running on pistol. Where we see a lot of failures when it comes to enclosed emitters on the market is it running on a pistol though. For whatever reason, the recoil that goes off in the pistol goes directly into that optic. Very similar to like a SCAR Heavy or a SCAR H in 308, breaking optics. We've seen some enclosed emitters being broken by being on a pistol. Now, when it's on a rifle, it's completely fine. The Steiner MPS, however, has never had an issue ever since it's been on a pistol of mine or the older ones that we had that were on pistols that were just being run with thousands and thousands of rounds. So when Steiner was like, hey, can we send you an MPS to try out? I was like, yeah, that's an easy talk up because I've already put thousands of rounds on it and it stood the test of time. So I was like, maybe that was just a one-off and I just had a really good one. And since I've had this one, this has been 1,000 rounds minimum already on this optic, probably pushing about 3,000 rounds on this one specifically. And it's still running super strong. The only thing I had to replace was the battery. Now with that being said, it is a little bit big, it is kind of mailboxy, but that's what you're gonna get with an enclosed emitter. But if you're out training all the time, at the end of the day, you don't really care too much about the looks, but looks are, and kind of important. But I think it does look better than a lot of other enclosed emitters that are out there on the market. Now, if you are going to the range and you are getting really, really tired and you need to stay hydrated, I wanna talk about our next sponsor, which is Renewal Rain. You've heard me talk about Renewal Rain in the past. Renewal Rain is a Christian-based company that sells mineral water, and they actually have a really high set of moral standards. Everything in the market today is trying to push you towards different companies that do not share the same values as you may. Now, what I love about Renewal Rain, not only is the drink refreshing and it's great to have on the range day, we actually drink it whenever we're doing our podcast on Monday night, but it's a company that truly, legitimately puts their faith out there. They stand behind what they believe in, and it's really refreshing, pun intended, to stand behind a company that has the same values that I do, putting out things about the gospel and about glorifying the Lord. And so even if you're not into drinking mineral water, it has 0 calories, it's all natural, you're putting good things into your body, which God says to look out for your temple, so you're putting clean things into your body, you're staying refreshed, it has carbonation, and also you don't have to support other companies that are mainstream, that are out there, that are pretty big, that are not pushing the same type of values that you may have. So if you go to the description below in this video, you can actually get a discount code so that you can save money on your next purchase and also accumulate points, so that way eventually you can use your points to get a free shipment of Renewal Rain. So go check out Renewal Rain. The discount code and the link is in the description below in this video, and special thanks to Renewal Rain for sponsoring this episode. So one of the things that I really do enjoy about this is it also still fits in a Safariland holster. Or when I'm running any type of red dot or pistol, I need to make sure that it fits in holsters that are available. As you guys know, I run Trijicon SROs for quite a while, but the problem is they sit so far forward on the slide, so that way I actually have to modify my Safariland in order to get that gun to fit. What's great is the STEINER MPS with its footprint is going to stay inside of a traditional Safariland level 2 or level 3 holster, so I don't have to modify it at all, and it keeps everything nice and easy, very simple. At this point in time, I'm so big on holster selection and making sure that guns can fit inside Safarilands that I will actually, pick a gun or an optic based off of how well it fits in a Safariland and if that's even an available option. I almost went to a different pistol from M&P with a different type of dot system, but there was no Safariland holster that would work for it, so I actually switched over to M&P because of that. So holster selection is a big deal. When it comes to red dots, I want to make sure that it can still fit into Safariland. And honestly, I hate modifying these holsters. You kind of take away from some of the integrity of it in order to get that, like a SRO type optic to fit. And so not having to do that with the MPS it's really nice at the end of the day. Enclosed emitters are the future. What you get out of an enclosed emitter is when it gets rainy or wet or whatever, you're not going to get moisture, or a water droplet on that emitter, because if you ever have that and you're shooting in the rain or you're shooting in an environment where you're near water or have water that gets on the gun, as soon as you get a water droplet on the emitter, it just starbursts your laser so you can't see anything, you don't have a red dot anymore. So keeping dirt and water and debris out of that because you have an enclosed emitter, in my opinion, is the future. I don't know what STEINER did, but they're the only ones so far that have figured it out in terms of the durability and the ruggedness. Maybe there's other companies that have now produced newer models. I just haven't shot them yet. So, some people might also have none of these issues with their other enclosed emitters because they live in a more drier climate. I'm just saying here in Florida, it's super humid. So as far as equipment breaking or not breaking, it's a great testing grounds to see what works and what doesn't work over time with actual real usage. So hopefully you guys got something out of that review. One of the things that I enjoy talking about companies like this is when companies put out a good quality product, in my opinion, they actually really do care about the end user. We live in an industry and work and shoot and are a part of a community and industry where I think that the products and quality control is so big. But at the end of the day, don't just take my word for it. You need to do your own quality control on the equipment that you buy. And also, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not brand loyal. Like if there's a company out there that I'm running their stuff and it's great and all of a sudden the QC drops and I find out about it, I'll do an update video and talk about it. So at the end of the day, my loyalty is to the end user, and I want to be as unbiased as humanly possible about the equipment that we're running, because at the end of the day, you're putting your life on the line on that equipment and relying on it to actually last when you need it. So what I really appreciate about the STEINER MPS is that it works, it's ruggedized, and has stood the test of time. And in my opinion, I would put my life on it, right? Like I would trust it with my life to work when I need it to work. So, just like equipment, I think it's so important to be very selective and very particular about who or what you entrust your life upon. And I want to read something that was encouraging to me when I was reading it throughout the week, and it's actually in John chapter 13. And this is right before the Passover festival, and Jesus knew that he was about to die. He knew that his time was coming to an end on the earth. He was going back to the Father because he was going to be crucified, by man and leaving this world. And so this is where this setting is taking, it's kind of setting the stage for this picture I'm about to read about. Jesus knew that the hour had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. Such a beautiful picture. The evening meal was in progress, and the devil had already prompted Judas, who we know as a betrayer, the son of Simon Iscariot, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, that he had come from God and was returning to God. So even though Judas thinks he's like, I'm going to make some money betraying Jesus, and the devil had tempted Judas, God had everything under control, and it was all working according to plan, whether the devil knew it or not, which I don't think he did. Otherwise, he never would have, had Jesus crucified. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" And Jesus replied, "You do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand." "No," said Peter, "you shall never wash my feet." Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me." "Then, Lord," Simon Peter replied, "not just my feet, but my hands and my head as well." Jesus answered, "Those who have had a bath need only to wash their feet, and their whole body is clean. And you are clean, though not every one of you." For he knew who was going to betray him, and that was why he said, "Not everyone was clean." When he has finished washing his feet, he put on his clothes and returned to his place. "Do you understand what I've done for you?" he asked them. "You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set an example that you should do as I have done for you. Very truly, I tell you, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them." And what's great about this is when I look at Jesus of the Bible, and I look at the character of God, that's when I read the Bible, that's what I'm really looking for, is I'm looking to read about who God is and his character, and what is he like. And you see the creator of the universe, who created all mankind, created the universe, the stars, the sun, the moon, is so massive that the Bible says that he even has the universe in his hand. And in that universe that's in his hand is a small speck called the earth, and that small speck in the universe, you're on that tiny little speck as a speck, and God is so massive that that's how insignificant and small we are. But yet, we serve a God who says in the Bible that he loves you specifically. He will move heaven and earth to be able to have a relationship with you. And so we see the character of Christ that is being portrayed in the Bible in this story as he's washing his disciples' feet. That was a servant's job. That was something that a king wouldn't do. He wouldn't go and wash his servant's feet. It's weird. You don't see a boss going and serving his coworkers that are underneath him. Usually they are trying to work to be able to serve, the boss, right? Well, Jesus did the opposite. He went and started serving his disciples and washing their feet, which are probably gross and grimy. And here he is, the creator of the universe, washing the dirt off their feet and serving them. Almost to the point where Simon Peter's like, "What are you doing? Like, you're the Lord, you're the King of Kings, you're God, the creator of the universe. How can you wash my feet?" And Jesus is giving them an example of how to be like him, how to be followers of Christ. And God has called us to serve others. And that is a type of God that I want to put my life in his care. I want to serve that type of God. It's so easy to, for me, when I serve my mom and my dad, they're so kind. They raised me in such a good household. Or maybe you didn't have that luxury, but you have a guardian or a spouse or children that you love, and it's so easy to serve them. It's the same exact thing with Jesus. Like, I just want to serve him because of how much he already loves me and has given me a love that I don't deserve. I've turned him away so many times, rejected him so many times, but yet he still wants to chase after me, like a father who wants his son to come back home. And I look at that type of character, and I'm like, that's the type of God that it'd be so easy to serve him, and I want to serve him and be like him. In order to be like him, I have to be a servant to others. And I'm going to put out right now, just flat out, if you are in a position right now where you are not spending enough time with your family, or maybe you're like, oh, maybe I should buy this red dot, or maybe I should buy this product, but you know that you haven't had time with your family, and it's like, well, I could pay for them to go on like a family vacation or do something together with them. Use the money for the things that matter. Your family matters. Your wife, your spouse, your kids, your parents. Pour money and time into those relationships, because those are the things that really are what matters. That is your ministry first. The optics and guns and stuff like that can come. And honestly, it's good to build relationships around that stuff because you enjoy it, and God wants you to enjoy the things that you love in this life. But also, it's important to remind ourselves about the things that really are the most important, and that's the relationships that we have with those that we love, and even those that we may not know yet, but could know by building new friendships with people that, we could maybe learn from and learn to love. And so I just kind of wanted to give you guys that encouraging word. I think it's so important. We get caught up in all the consumerism that we have in America, and sometimes we forget about the people who matter the most to us. And I know that's something that I've done. I've taken my wife for granted, taken my kids for granted, but losing them would be absolutely devastating to me. And just remember, time is not something that should be taken for granted. It can be gone. And so spend as much time as you possibly can with those you love. Talk to them about the Lord. Talk to your friends and your family about Jesus and the hope that he brings, because he's completely changed my life. And if you're going through a hard time or you want to know who Jesus is, you can download the Bible app here. Just scan this QR code or email me at team@barrelhatchet.com. I'd love to pray for you. Put your comment of the prayer request in the comment section. There's tons of other brothers in this community who would love to pray for you and talk with you. So guys, continue to look out for each other. Remember what's important in life. Train to be the eternal asset. My name is Eric, and I'll see you on the next one.